If you're on the sex offender registry, watching this video might be the most important thing you can do. Attorneys David Slayne and Roger Creasy have dedicated their law practice to defending the rights of sex offenders. They are known as the Sex Offender Defenders, and as a level 1 offender, they can help you get your name off the registry sooner than you ever thought possible.
The law says after 10 years, as a level 1 sex offender, you may petition the court. If you've not been in any trouble since, you may petition the court and be removed 5 years early. That is, you would no longer have to register, and you would be removed from the sex offender registry 5 years early.
Imagine getting your reputation, your rights, and your freedom 5 years earlier. David Slayne and Roger Creasy are known all over Oklahoma as the attorneys who fight for your rights to live in our community. They are so trusted, in fact, when the state legislature tried its hardest to close Hand Up Ministries, Hand Up Ministries came to Slayne and Creasy.
For the first time ever, a sex offender compound allows Fox 25 full access to the entire facility.
That's right. Hand Up Ministries could soon be shut down after a new law forced many of the sex offenders out. Tonight, we take you inside to see how the law has changed things and why some say it's now affecting the public's safety.
This, as you can see, is where the guys are living now.
Sex offenders living in tents throughout the city after a recent law required them to leave a compound where they were staying.
It eliminates us from putting more than one person in a 3-bedroom mobile home, so we had to put 2 people out of each mobile home.
David Nichols is the founder of Hand Up Ministries, a faith-based aftercare program for people convicted of sex crimes.
We were taking 20 to 30 sex offenders a month, getting them jobs.
Because the law has cut down on the number of people he can house, he says the program is facing a shutdown.
And I fully expect we'll get a restraining order within a couple of weeks to stop the enforcement of this law.
Hand Up Ministries recently hired a new attorney. David Slayne says he's filing a lawsuit next week, arguing this law goes against the Oklahoma Constitution.
If you pass a law today, you cannot necessarily apply it to someone who was convicted yesterday. And because all of these people were convicted prior to July 1, they have certain rights.
Slayne says these sex offenders were already given rules as to where they can live upon their conviction. And constitutionally, you cannot tack on to that.
My crime was indecent exposure, and that was back in '95.
Robert Lockett lives on the compound where 2 of his roommates were forced to leave.
There's a lot of them that just are on the street.
He says previously, Hand Up was a place of accountability. Jeff Wendell agrees.
I was charged and convicted of rape and indecent acts with a minor.
Wendell will be a registered sex offender for life. He says the law, which was meant to keep people safe, has actually created a public safety risk.
Is it safer here or for them to be under a bridge?
Before they started passing all these laws, there was less than 100 people in Oklahoma that wasn't registering. That list is now 1,000.
Nichols says 77 of them were living at Hand Up until they were forced to leave.
At least they were in one place, at least they were accountable, they were registered, the authorities knew where they were. Now, we know that almost half of them are not registered that left.
I personally would rather know where they're at.
But places like Hand Up Ministries can be a thing of the past for you.
There's a special provision in the law that specifically says that if you're a level 1 sex offender and you've registered for 10 years and you've not had any more problems, you may go back to court and get off this list and no longer be required to register. And that's what we can help you do.
So, of all the law firms in Oklahoma, why should you call David Slayne and Roger Creasy? For starters, one word: experience.
We have 20 years of working with people, and that can't be replaced. We're the leader. We're the law firm that has the most expertise. We've handled more cases. We involving all aspects of the sex offender law.
The second reason why you must work with David Slayne and Roger Creasy to get your life back: no other attorneys have been so successful handling these types of cases.
We have not lost a case. So I would say we're very successful.
We have dealt and probably represented more sex offenders than any other law firm in the state of Oklahoma.
Close to 500 sex offender cases to be exact, but David Slayne and Roger Creasy do not simply talk the talk, they walk the walk.
Candidly, you're being grouped into a big pot. People don't know the difference between a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3 sex offender. If you're a member of the public and the community, they're scared of you. So you want to get off that list as soon as you possibly can and go on with your life.
The third and perhaps the most important reason why you should call Slane and Creasy: commitment. They genuinely care about their clients. Their commitment to protecting the rights of sex offenders is unmatched. How many attorneys do you know who would be willing to appear on every TV newscast in Oklahoma and publicly fight for the rights of sex offenders?
Good evening, glad you're with us. A former high school coach accused of having sex with a student tells News 9 he's innocent.
Tyrone Nash and his attorneys appeared before a judge to challenge the state's age of consent laws. The judge listened to what he called interesting arguments from both sides.
News 9's Lisa Monahan sat in on the hearing, has more from the courtroom now. Lisa?
Well, Kelly, the former Western Heights basketball coach and his attorneys are calling the age of consent law unconstitutional, asking the judge to dismiss rape charges against Tyrone Nash. The state argued back, leaving the judge to make this rare decision.
The whole deal is that this is the way we have to go.
Tyrone Nash did not dodge the cameras, but instead took his familiar stance.
Not just claim innocence in the first place.
That remark and similar statements come more than a year after his arrest, when a Western Heights high school senior came forward claiming she and Nash shared a sexual relationship for nearly 2 years. The alleged victim in the case claimed she was 16 and consented to having sex with Nash. Under state law, 16 is the age of consent, but there's an exception to the rule for students and school employees.
It's written in such a way that students, while needing to be protected, we also need to recognize that people have a right to engage in sexual activity. Once they are of age to consent, they have a right to consent.
David Slane made the argument in court, explaining Nash did not have the alleged victim in class, so Nash was not in a position of authority.
That's why this law is, in our opinion, poorly written. They should make it specifically that the person has to have authority and control. They didn't even say that. They just said any employee. So it could be a bus driver, it could be a school crossing guard, it could be somebody that mows the grass.
The state argued back. All teachers and coaches like Tyrone Nash are viewed as authority figures to every student at the school. Still, Nash disagrees and hopes the judge will too.
As teachers, we also have to protect ourselves because it's not fair for a student to have all the power and teachers not be able to protect themselves.
Well, the judge told the courtroom, due to this being a first-of-its-kind argument here in Oklahoma County, he needs some extra time to review both the state and defense arguments. Reporting live in the newsroom, Lisa Monahan, News 9.
All right, Lisa. Nash is charged with 10 counts of second-degree rape and forcible oral sodomy. Now, the jury trial was set to start October 29th, but it will likely be delayed while they're awaiting the judge's ruling on this.
Slane and Creasy go out of their way to help people who never should have been on the registry in the first place. James Starkey won one of the first major challenges to the sex offender registry.
With Starkey, he had been consuming alcohol. Shouldn't have been drinking and driving, but he was. Stopped and relieved himself of some of the alcohol in his system. Unfortunately, it was where a lady and her child were. They observed him, so they charged him with indecent exposure. Well, the reality wasn't indecent exposure, it was urinating in public, which is a misdemeanor.
James Starkey won that case on appeal. Slane and Creasy can win your case too. So now that you're faced with a golden opportunity to get off the registry, and you know David Slane and Roger Creasy are the lawyers to do it, you must know one more thing. Time is of the essence. You must act, and you must act now. Why? As a convicted sex offender, you will soon come under the authority of the federal Adam Walsh Act.
What it's calling for is a national registry to be established. And what's going to happen is they're tying federal money to that national registry. And if you're on the list in Oklahoma, that database is going to feed into a national list. And my fear is that once you get on the national database, you won't be able to ever get off.
For now, your record as a sex offender is more or less confined to Oklahoma. And when Oklahoma purges your name from the registry, your name should be cleared. But the Adam Walsh Act will change the whole game.
What's going to happen is the information is becoming global. It's becoming international. It's in so many different databases and so many different places that you're not going to be able to go back and clean it up everywhere it's going to go. So that's why it's important to get in and get in now before all that information gets out nationally.
This program, specifically for Level 1 sex offenders, is a golden opportunity. But if you think you can go into the courtroom and handle this yourself, think again.
The law granted a specific provision for level 1 sex offenders to go back into the courthouse and petition to be removed after 10 years. That petition you can't do yourself. You're not qualified to do that yourself. You need a competent lawyer to be able to go and do that.
With David Slane and Roger Creasy, you can get documentation from a judge, a bona fide court order removing you from the registry forever.
Typically, we're able to get court orders for people within 90 days as a general rule. So we're able to essentially get a court order that may change your life within 90 days.
Even if you're short on cash, they can help you there too. The law firm takes all major credit cards. They have payment plans with no interest and no credit check. It's just a service from the law firm to help as many people as they can. Another testament to their commitment to help you get your life back once and for all.
We understand your unique situation. We understand the public, their sentiment against you. We understand that the judges don't really want to help you, but you need an advocate and a person that's respected by all of those groups to go in and be your advocate and fight for you, and you know and feel comfortable that they're going to do the very best they can for me.
Call David Slane and Roger Creasy right now. Their phone number is 405-319-1800. Again, 405-319-1800. You can't change your past, but you absolutely can change your future. It all starts with a simple phone call, 405-319-1800. David Slane and Roger Creasy have helped hundreds of people get off the sex offender registry forever. They can help you too. Call now.